Welcome, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the Customer Festival in the Netherlands. I want to thank everyone for attending. And for an inaugural event, this is a great crowd, and just delighted that everybody is here. And I'm actually delighted to be speaking here and chairing the session because, frankly, it's a really incredible time to be a loyalty marketer. It's both an incredible time and it's a bit of a scary time as well. I was just saying to my colleague Mario, this is my 3rd conference in the last kind of couple of weeks, and I get to see faces from all over the world and get to see issues. And frankly, the issues that we're facing in the Netherlands are the same that we're seeing in the United Kingdom or the same that we're seeing in the United States. And I'd like to say that this is an exciting time to be a loyalty marketer because of 3 principal reasons. And I kind of stood back and I thought to myself, what are those big reasons? And is there kind of a consensus and there a feeling to what we're seeing everywhere? And it's an exciting time really for 3 reasons. One of them is because our challenge as loyalty marketers has never been stronger. And one of the reasons is because of data. And you hear a lot, and there's part of the aspect of this conference is this idea of big data. But when you think about big data, what I would do is step back from the idea of big. And don't even focus on big. Things get bigger inevitably. And much of the data that we're seeing is frankly irrelevant. But when you think about big data, think about the 2 other aspects of big data that make it incredibly compelling. One of which is variety. There are just so many different sources of information that we as marketers can get our arms on. And the third of which is velocity, which is the speed with which data moves. And no longer can we rely upon databases. No longer can we rely upon the people who use SQL and query databases and ask that old information questions because, frankly, people are moving around and the context with which they are moving around and you need to contact them is changing too fast. So with regard to big data, you didn't hear me say this, but forget about the volume. Focus on the variety and the velocity. Second, which is mathematics. Many of us as marketers came up being left-side thinkers or right-side thinkers. And at this point as loyalty marketers, we really have to be able to combine both of those things. We must be mathematicians. And mathematicians is really kind of an outpouring of the amount of data and the variety of data and the velocity of data, but our ability to, at a minimum, understand the correlations between things happening. And we'll talk about the causations of that another time. That's a different topic. But at a minimum, be able to see patterns of data and understand how they correlate with what someone is likely to do, what she is likely to say, how she is likely to feel, what she is likely to buy, whether or not she's likely to go away. The power of mathematics allows us to take that data and truly anticipate that past behavior to be able to predict the future. And the third of which is purely emotional. The first panel, and I'll be getting to that in a moment, is about the emotional side of loyalty. So for a moment, put away all that mathematics and put away all that data and think about maybe the strongest computer which we have access to, which is our brains. And how do we as human beings make decisions that are rooted in emotional loyalty, not rational loyalty, not rooted in, I have my smartphone and I can see a lower price and I'm going to leave the store to save 2%. But in a way in which we feel valued, in a way in which we trust the brands in which we engage with, in a way that those brands create relevant experiences for us, which truly change our brain, train our brains in an emotional way. Because people who make decisions emotionally, believe it or not, are 10 times more valuable than those that make decisions rationally. When you say the first place I think of to buy a sandwich, a cup of coffee, a shirt, a sweater, which airline I fly, which card I use at the front of my wallet, the lifetime value of that individual is 10 times that of the person who merely says the second or third. So the third big trend, if we put away the mathematics, is the emotional, which for us as marketers is kind of fun because it allows us to essentially be creative, to be rational, to be mathematicians, to be artists all at the same time. And the confluence of that is loyalty marketing. And that's why I personally am excited to be a loyalty marketer. And that's why I'm personally excited about conferences like this, the ones we'll be doing in London later on in the year, and hopefully getting a chance to speak with each of you. So let's take that third trend, and we're going to focus right now on the emotional aspect of loyalty. And this is really about decision-making from the heart. This is really about the emotional pillars and The title of this panel is Turning Customers into Fans. To some extent, I think this is an unfair topic. Our boss, I work for a company called Tibco Software. He made $1 billion or so selling software. He was the guy, Vivek Ranadive, who figured out how to take traders on Wall Street and turn them into super traders with, instead of all those screens, a single place and fast-moving data and pattern recognition. And with that $1 billion, he bought himself a basketball team. And so it becomes very easy if you own a sports team, if you're a fan of the Netherlands, if you're a fan of a soccer club or a football club in the UK, to have those as your fans. But we as brands don't have that advantage. So to some extent, when he says, I believe in turning customers into fans, it's a little bit more difficult to that. So what I'd like to do is introduce